Hi, welcome back. This is Meg. And at the completion of my last video, I had done 4 sections of this compartmentalized Zandala tile here, and I had done these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I promised to do the other 4, which I have now. And I did a bunch of shading work, and I also added a lot of black. So you'll notice I went behind this fern section and added black behind all of it. I also went ahead and added black behind all these branches. I totally like that better. I doubled up on these flowers here and added black behind them. And then the 4 new sections that I added are, let me just see how is the best way to look at these. This one here, and I did lattice work, which was just crisscrosses, and then I did vines with little leaves on them, going up through those. Then I did this one, which is just real stylized and interesting, I think. Kind of like the fern shape, that shape of each leaf. I did those real skinny. And I started on one side here and did them all down, and then I went with smaller ones because that's what I had room for, all the way across, and then same thing here, smaller ones, and then went all the way across, and so those were fun to do. And then this one was kind of supposed to look like a tree. Actually, it was supposed to look like a tree from this way. Like this was the trunk of the tree, and that was the top of the tree, and then I had these branches going out. And I'm not sure that really worked, but I don't care. But that's what that one was kind of a tree look. It's very stylized. And here's kind of a chrysanthemum or something like that. And I just did a circle in the middle and then did arcs all around it, all around it, all around it to give that impression. And then I shaded around that. And so in this video, I want to finish this one off. I'm going to do some work on the borders, or what we call the frame. Each section sort of has a frame around it, and so I want to do a little bit more work on that. I want to do some work on this flower in the middle to really make it pop off of the center. I think we can easily do some shading behind it that will really help. And we'll see how far we can get. So thanks for being with me, and I hope you enjoy these next steps, and if you haven't done the previous videos to get us to here, this is probably one where you could learn some border work, because that's what I'm going to be doing, and just practice on your own tools and materials with whatever you have there. Anything is fine. So let me see. I think I want to start with this flower and really get to work on creating some depth behind it. And so I'm shading on the outside lines of each of these petals. I'm going to do the same thing with the second level petal and the third one too, because I really want this flower to pop off the page. But I forgot something. Here we go. Oh, there we go. This one too. This one too. I think I got them all now. I'm using my tortillon to smudge it and pull that graphite out a little bit away from the flower. I want to leave the flower center as bright white as I can and create this deep shadow on every layer below it. And that's what putting this much graphite down will do, is make a real dark shadow appearance there. And same thing in the next section. As with all of the shading work that I've done in previous videos, I do caution you to not let the side of your hand rest on the paper. You know, try to get in the habit of using your fingers to turn it instead of writing with your hand underneath you, which just results in a super smudgy page and also your hand being filthy and etc. So you just want to have a little more control over what you're doing if that matters to you in this process. So there we go. Now it really has a lot more dimension to it, I think. That looks great. I'm still going to do something more with the center part because it just looks so flat right now, but probably I'm going to do black behind there. Yeah, let's just take care of that now. I think that will continue to give that appearance that I talked about when I created this flower of having kind of a cutout look right there where you're seeing all the way through it. And so I do think that's what it gives to this portion. Okay, there we go. That's nice. All right, I'm going to jump into the border portions now and see what we can do there. One of my favorite ways to treat a border is to make it look sort of like a column, like a Greek column. And so the way for me to do that is to start here at the top of this portion of this line, or a little space down, and make a curve like that. Like an S, but a very shallow S, if you will. It's just not very deep. But another one there. And I'm working with pretty small columns, if you will, here. They're not very deep. So this is very fine work in the terms of having not a lot of space to do this in. So if you find yourself frustrated with how small this is, it's totally doable in larger spaces. I tend to work at this scale, and so it's not bothersome to me, but it certainly is small, and I can appreciate that some of this work is just either too tedious at this size, or maybe your eyes don't support it. Mine don't always, to be honest. Or maybe your hand doesn't work at this small of a scale, and any of those things is okay. Just know I understand, and so you might just want to go at a larger scale. So do what works for you. So what I've done here is created this little line here 3 times, and then behind that I put kind of like what sort of looks like, I don't know, pebbles or something in there. And it is pretty small here. I'm almost afraid that it's going to become hard to see it all to do it in these small spaces. So I might have to go with much more simple designs for these frames, because this is going to get really lost, especially now that I try to shade it. It's just you can't really see the depth of the design there, and the way that these little things sit in there. Yeah, that's just not going to work, I don't think. Well, not quite the way I had planned it, but it's not bad. I think just to give it a little definition, I'm going to put some dark dots in the middle because everything's getting lost in there, I feel like. Yeah, so anyway, you can see it a little bit better there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other 2 sides for that one. So starting up here, I like to do these little S's. And another S. And I'm leaving enough space between them to squeeze in a couple of those little pebbles. And I like to do the pebbles at this angle because I can fit more of them in here. See how I squeeze them in kind of in between these nice ribbons. I think of them sort of, when you do this on a column shape, on a nice big column shape, it can give this really nice appearance of being something like a Greek column with grape vines wrapped around it, and then these little shapes here almost look like grapes. It's just really pretty and neat. So I'm going to try to do that in a future one where you can see that a little bit better. So the way I'm shading this is down one side and up the other. That's from a column perspective. That's how it gets the look of being, you know, curved. And then these vines, I put a little bit of graphite because these spaces are so small behind those vines to give them that appearance of wrapping around it. That's the goal here. It's not quite, my execution is not quite my intention, but I still like it. There we go. Oh, I forgot. I do think these little dots kind of help to give a little bit more change of scale, kind of, because everything's the same size and shape, and so it kind of is invisible. There we go. Yeah, this does look neat. It's got that, oh, I don't know, I'm not good with names, but there's a designer that this reminds me of. There's my S, S, S. And then I'll put these little shapes in here. There we go. There we go. Alright, for the next one I'm going to do something a little more graphic, and I'm going to do these squares right next to each other. A square inside of a square, all the way around. It's actually more of a rectangle inside of a rectangle, but sometimes where the space won't allow a full rectangle, I'll squeeze in a square. I've even been known to squeeze in a triangle like that. I have to work so small here. And I'll tell you what, I feel myself crunching up my shoulders and holding my breath while I'm doing it, so I really have to concentrate on not crunching my shoulders up. Breathing, slow strokes, deliberate and intentional. Remind myself I've got nowhere to be. This is what I need to be doing right now. And there, see how much better I go? Do it more intentionally, and if I just slow down, I don't need to win any prizes. I'm so competitive that I'm the person that you can't even barely invite to baby showers because I want to win so bad. And I do. I win all the the contests and take home all the prizes. Wedding showers, baby showers, all of it. So it's best for me to be the coordinator and work in the kitchen or do something else at those events because I can't play the games. It's obnoxious. Okay, this one's so cute, but sort of sad too. So what can I do with this frame to match it? Maybe keep this sort of spooky, somber mood. I'm trying to think about maybe what could I put in the border, in the frame that would, I don't know, look interesting with it. How about, a crescent moon shape like that. All the way, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I like that. I mean, crescent moon is always a good pattern. You see it so often. It's in like all the architecture, all the art, every period of time. It's like, it's the rainbow design. It's the architectural detail. I'm going to go ahead and make this match on this side just for fun because, you know, I can. And then go over here and anyway, that shape with those concentric lines, it's mountains, you know, it's whatever, it's very common. There we go, that's pretty. Let's see it right side up. Yeah, and when I think what I'm going to do is color in the inside of the frame with black, and that is going to really make that look neat, I think. Might as well just do it now while we're together. There we go. I like it. So you can see I've done 1, 2, 3 of these now. You can see this process that I'm going through of kind of working on these frames, each frame as a part of that particular section. And I'm going to keep going until I run out of battery, basically. It looks like I've got a few more minutes for that, but I will say before that happens, thank you so much for joining me and being a part of this video by watching it, and I hope that you will like the video and subscribe to my channel and leave me any comments that you have about content or the process or anything else. If you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in a future video or anything in particular you would like me to do in a future video that you might enjoy seeing, I would love to hear about that. And I will just continue to work on these frames, these borders here, until I run out of time. This one I went with a leaf design behind all along these borders here. And I'm trying to decide if I color in the background of the leaves, what will happen, how will it blend in with the background of these leaves? And the answer is it will blend in. And I think that will be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Here we go. Let's see what I can do with this one. I'm just doing some little tiny little flowers alternating here. It's just a stem with a little dot at the end, and I'm alternating them from left to right. And you know, it just creates a pattern, a visual pattern that I think works with how busy this piece is becoming, and creates just a little bit of white space. It kind of looks like a spiral notebook, doesn't it? It just allows a little bit more white space, because as I fill in all the gaps of this, it just becomes very busy, which, you know, is like my mind. So there we go. Here, this one's a little different because I'm going all the way across the top. So for some reason I want it to be a little more, I don't know, what do you call that? I don't know, consistent or something. Measured in that. Okay. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Here we go over here. Now this is really busy. So what can I do to complement it and not make it more distracting or something? I don't know. There's something. I'm going to come back to it. This one here, I'm going to go circles around it because it's so spiky. It has this opportunity for a juxtaposition of these nice big plump circles like berries. And then I'll squeeze in between them some more, in between both places. Now it sort of looks like a beaded necklace, you know, like a pearl separated by two little gold beads maybe. Choker, you know, style. I think my son might be currently wearing something like this right now. Apparently it's very popular to wear, for boys to wear, you know, certain types of necklaces that might have been previously worn only by girls or people identifying as girls or whatever. So anyway, he's been wearing them lately. Looks quite pretty on him. Okay. There we go. That one works nicely with that. I might leave this one blank because the center is so busy. Now, let's look over here. What should I do there? I think I'll continue with the kind of triangular shape that it has and just go like this for now. Start with this. Nice deliberate strokes. Strong triangle marks. Outside my window right now are hummingbirds. They are going crazy at my feeder, and they are casting a shadow on the blinds, sort of, and it's really cool because they're like extended and interesting looking. All right, and then one inside each one of those. This gives a nice strong contrast there. You might even hear some tweeting. There we go. Yeah, I'm loving this. Doesn't it look great? Each section looks very interesting in its own right. I really like it. It almost feels like you could spin it. You know, it's like a mood spinner or something. Spin it. I feel like this side, I feel like it's undone unless I finish this one part. So I'm going to quickly do, what could I do there? I feel like it's so busy, that's the problem, but how about just go with the busyness, don't resist it, and do itty bitty little tiny lines, parallel lines all the way down. It's kind of like the motion of a person chopping vegetables really well. You know how the chefs do it? They chop, 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 chop. Like that movie Julie and Julia, where Julia Childs is at the cooking school in Paris, and she's chopping onions, and she has to keep doing it until she can do it right. And she chops so many piles and piles and piles and piles of onions, but you know, so she's just crying and crying and crying because of the onion juice and the fumes. But she does become an expert at chopping onions, finally. I think. I don't want to spoil them for you, but I think she becomes pretty good at it. Because she is, after all, Julia Childs. So, there we go. I like it. Thank you so much for tangling along with me. And I hope that you have a great time finishing up your piece if you've been doing this with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I appreciate you spending this time with me. I hope you have a really great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.